The bright lights of Los Angeles have drawn artists, rebels, fortune seekers, and dreamers for over a century. But what if I told you that beneath these palm tree-lined boulevards lies a completely different city, one built on forgotten graves, buried tunnels, ancient villages, and secrets that were never meant to see the light of day. Imagine walking down Broadway in 1920. Jazz music spills out of the speakeasies, streetcars rattle by, and just beneath your feet, bootleg tunnels, and even remnants of a Tongva village that predates Hollywood by thousands of years. Today, we pass by these places without a second thought, but they're still down there waiting. Welcome to Voyager. I'm Armando, and today we're descending into the forbidden underworld of Los Angeles. From sacred indigenous sites to Cold War bunkers, Prohibition tunnels to deep subway lines, we'll uncover the layers one by one of a city that's hiding more than most of us have ever imagined. Stick around, because by the time we make it back to the surface, you'll never see Los Angeles the same way again. Let's get into it. If you were standing at the corner of Wilshire and Curson 40,000 years ago, you wouldn't be surrounded by traffic or museums. Instead, you'd be waist deep in grassland, surrounded by mammoths, dire wolves, and saber-toothed cats. But if you get too close to the wrong patch of ground, you'd find yourself sinking, slowly and helplessly, into a pool of sticky black asphalt. What we now call the La Brea tar pits was once a deadly trap disguised as a watering hole. Here, countless Ice Age animals met their end, unknowingly preserved for thousands of years beneath the surface of what would one day become the heart of Los Angeles. It wasn't until 1901 that W.W. Orcutt, a Union Oil geologist, first recognized that fossilized prehistoric animal bones were preserved in pools of asphalt. But it would take a few more years and one very persistent man to really crack open this prehistoric tomb. His name was George Allen Hancock. In the early 1900s, Hancock owned the land where the tar pits sat. And while others were more interested in the oil beneath them, Hancock saw scientific value. He donated the land to Los Angeles County in 1924, allowing paleontologists to excavate the pits. What they found was nothing short of astonishing. Skeletons of saber-toothed cats, tangled masses of mammoth bones, and remains of numerous Ice Age creatures preserved in the tar. Over 3.5 million fossils representing more than 600 plant and animal species have been pulled from these pits since those early digs, turning what was once a sticky curiosity into one of the most important paleontological sites on Earth. And the work never really stopped. Even today, scientists at the La Brea Tar Pits Museum are still cleaning, cataloging, and uncovering new secrets from Project 23, a set of 16 fossil deposits discovered in 2006 during construction of an underground parking garage. So next time you walk past the La Brea Tar Pits, think of the thousands of creatures who got stuck here long before us, and the people who had the curiosity to dig a little bit deeper. If you're enjoying the video or learned something new so far, please give the video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Now back to Los Angeles. Long before the skyline, the freeways, and the tourists lined up for food on Olvera Street, this land was Yaanga, one of the largest and most influential Tongva villages in the Los Angeles basin. If you stood here a few centuries ago, you'd hear the crackle of fire pits, the steady flow of the Los Angeles River, and the heartbeat of a community that thrived here for thousands of years. Yaanga was a settlement and a spiritual and political center where elders held ceremonies beneath sycamores and families lived in harmony with the land. That changed in 1781 when Spanish colonists arrived and founded Pueblo de Los Angeles, just to the west of Yaanga. They didn't see sacred ground. They saw fertile land, access to water, and indigenous labor. Supporting their new settlement was Zanja Madre, or Mother Ditch, a hand-dug canal that carried water from the river to the growing pueblo. It became the city's first lifeline, nourishing crops and powering expansion. The settlers, which included 44 people of mixed indigenous, African, and Spanish heritage, built adobe homes near ancient Tongva grounds. As the pueblo grew, Yaanga was dismantled, and by 1813, the original village was gone. In the 1920s, Olvera Street had fallen into disrepair, its crumbling walls a ghost of the past. Then came Christine Sterling, a wealthy socialite from Northern California who rediscovered the street in 1926. She transformed the street into a Mexican-themed marketplace. It opened on Easter Sunday in 1930, offering visitors a charming glimpse into LA's past. At the center of this historic district stands the Plaza Church. Constructed with local materials and indigenous labor, the church was dedicated on December 8, 1822. And beneath the floors, a forgotten burial ground where 695 people were buried, many of them Native Americans from across Southern California. Some were later moved, but many were not. So next time you walk through Olvera Street, stand at the foot of the Plaza Church, or walk past Union Station, imagine how beneath your feet lie the heart of a displaced village, a place where rivers once flowed, and the first people called this home for millennia. The echoes of Yaanga are still there, whispering countless untold stories. Under the quiet neighborhoods of northern Los Angeles County, an invisible monster grows. The Chiquita Canyon Landfill Fire, where an underground trash fire between 30 to 90 acres has been burning since early 2022, creating its own fuel cycle. And the toxic liquid it produces as it melts through waste continues to feed the flames. For nearby residents, creating a nightmare that could last for decades. In Valverde, a historic community, residents now live with windows sealed shut and air purifiers running constantly. Their symptoms read like something from a horror novel.
It turned ghost white, his gums went white, he went numb in his arms and his face, and he couldn't breathe, he was gasping.
7 people have been battling cancer, 1 has passed away. 4 people were diagnosed just in this last year.
Despite millions spent on containment efforts, including 200 plus wells and a 40-acre cap, the fire continues expanding. Residents just a few hundred feet away breathe toxic chemicals daily. This hidden landscape of burning waste forms another layer of Los Angeles, a subterranean reminder that beneath the surface of modern life, even our discarded wastes are never truly laid to rest. Before the roar of crowds or the smell of hot dogs filled the air, this hill was home to the communities of Chavez Ravine, Palo Verde, La Loma, and Bishop, where Mexican-American families lived for generations in the 1950s. Those neighborhoods were cleared to make way for a public housing project that never happened. Instead, it became Dodger Stadium. The land was acquired through eminent domain, but after political shifts, the housing plan was scrapped, and in June of 1958, voters narrowly approved transferring the land to Walter O'Malley, owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers. The final eviction came on May 9, 1959, also known as Black Friday, when Los Angeles County Sheriff deputies forcibly removed the last residents, including Aurora Vargas, a 36-year-old woman who was carried kicking and screaming from her home. Bulldozers rolled in minutes later, flattening what was left of their homes. Today, beneath the grandstands and souvenir shops, tunnels and service corridors wind through the earth. Modern infrastructure designed for crowds and commerce. Their layers built atop former communities. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, just east of where Union Station is today, Old Chinatown was a vibrant community of Chinese immigrants, home to herbal shops, grocery stores, and incense-filled alleys. As it peaked between 1890 and 1910, the community grew to about 3,000 residents spread over 15 streets with general stores, schools, temples, and an opera theater. But starting in the 1930s, the neighborhood was gradually demolished to make way for LA's new rail terminal and other civic projects. Old Chinatown was in reality a self-sufficient community with its own economic systems, cultural institutions, and domestic life. Today, the only remaining evidence of Old Chinatown is the two-story Garnier building, which now houses the Chinese American Museum. The physical remnants of Old Chinatown still lie beneath the railroad tracks where trains pass today, a buried chapter of Los Angeles' history that's often forgotten. Walking through downtown Los Angeles today, beneath the 101, you'd never guess you're passing over some of the city's earliest cemeteries. In the 1800s, as Los Angeles was rapidly expanding, burial grounds were seen as temporary. Land was too valuable. Fort Moore Hill Cemetery, established in 1853, became the city's first non-Catholic burial ground, a final resting place for pioneers, soldiers from the Mexican-American War, and early Protestant settlers. Today, only the Fort Moore Pioneer Memorial stands near Cesar Chavez Avenue, quietly marking where hundreds were buried, and many left behind. As the city grew, these burial grounds disappeared beneath concrete and steel. When the Hollywood freeway cut through Fort Hill in 1951, bones tumbled into the excavation. In 2006, workers building the Ramon C. Cortines School of Visual and Performing Arts uncovered 80 more burials. In 2010, construction at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes revealed 118 skeletons of early Angelenos, who were supposed to have been relocated in the mid-1800s. The past isn't content to stay buried, and reminds us that beneath every skyscraper and freeway lies a layer of history that refuses to disappear. We're just beginning to scratch the surface, and what lies 20, 50, and even 100 feet below LA might surprise you even more. Now let's go a little bit deeper. In 1920s Los Angeles, beneath the clatter of trolley cars and the hum of a growing metropolis, a hidden world thrived. If you knew the right people, a whispered invitation might lead you down narrow stairs to the King Eddie Saloon's basement speakeasy. Murals of beer kegs and Bavarian landscapes reportedly encoded secret maps of this subterranean labyrinth. Figures like Charles Crawford, the Grey Wolf of Spring Street, and Mickey Cohen built empires in the shadows. This underground world was where Hollywood glamour met organized crime. Cohen, LA's notorious mob boss, reportedly conducted business in the basement of Ciro's nightclub, now the location of the Comedy Store, where whispered deals once sealed fates. The corruption reached the highest levels of power. Between 1921 to 1929, Mayor George E. Cryer's administration was entangled with Crawford and Kent Kane Parrott, who ran the LAPD. This unholy alliance provided advanced warning of raids, allowing the underground to flourish unchecked. Though many passageways are now sealed, their stories linger in cold drafts and echoes of the past. If you were standing on Bunker Hill in the late 1800s, you'd see a young Los Angeles struggling with its geography, steep slopes, dusty roads, and a downtown divided by elevation. To fix that, the city carved straight through the bedrock of Bunker Hill. The result? The 3rd Street Tunnel, which opened in 1901. This passage was one of LA's first major subterranean infrastructure feats, turning what was once a ridgeline into a direct route connecting Crown Hill to downtown. Today, drivers still pass through it, mostly unaware that they're passing through a tunnel built over 120 years ago. Just a few blocks away, another ambitious idea took place in the 1920s, the Belmont Tunnel and Subway Terminal Building. This was LA's first true subway, part of the Pacific Electric Railway system, built to bypass gridlock before freeways took over. The tunnel opened on December 1st, 1925. Streetcars from across the region entered the tunnel near Toluca Street in Westlake, and emerged at a bustling underground hub at 417 South Hill Street. This was the beating pulse of Southern California, the Pacific Electric Railway, better known as the Red Car System. It was the largest electric railway system in the world, stretching across over 1,000 miles of track, connecting LA to Orange County, San Bernardino, and even the beaches in Santa Monica and Long Beach. It all began in 1901 when Henry Huntington formed the Pacific Electric, sparking an intense period of interurban expansion. He built neighborhoods and then laid tracks to them, turning farmland into booming suburbs. The red car wasn't just a way to get around, but it was the way Southern California grew. At its peak during World War II, the tunnel served 880 trains and approximately 65,000 passengers every day. By the 1950s, private automobiles and freeway expansion were rewriting LA's story. The red cars gradually replaced by buses in 1961. Parts of the tunnel were later blocked by the foundations of Bunker Hill skyscrapers. Today, luxury apartments called Metro 417 stand in the renovated subway terminal building, while the sealed entrance at the Belmont Station Apartments features a mural of a red car that glows in the dark, a ghostly reminder of what once was. Beneath the manicured lawns and quiet streets of Signal Hill, a hidden world sleeps, the remnants of LA's oil boom, where children now play in parks and families gather for backyard barbecues. A forest of derricks once stood so thick that they called it Porcupine Hill. Today, the oil fields are gone, but their presence lingers. In Signal Hill, gated communities and trendy coffee shops now stand where oil once gushed. But developers must dance carefully around the invisible grid of abandoned wells and contaminated earth beneath their feet. Active oil operations still churn just feet from bedroom windows and school playgrounds, a sobering reminder of the city's industrial past. This hidden landscape of pipes, wells, and buried machines forms an invisible layer of Los Angeles, a subterranean reminder of the boom and bust cycles that built the city. Beneath the terminals of San Pedro's Port District lies a secret network of stories far less official. During Prohibition, these docks became a prime gateway for rum runners and smugglers, bringing illegal goods, usually alcohol but sometimes opium, into Los Angeles. The foggy harbor nights masked the quiet unloading of contraband. The Los Angeles Times reported in 1922 that about half of the illicit cargo landed at Los Angeles Harbor. Under the cover of darkness, steam-powered motherships waited offshore as smaller contact boats received cargo, where Canadian whiskey and rum were quickly passed to shore. Today, much of this Prohibition-era world has been transformed. Silent reminders that Los Angeles wasn't just built on industry, but on opportunism and a willingness to operate beneath the surface of the law. Now let's go even deeper. We've seen tunnels of the past, but now we reach layers that were never meant to be found. Tucked into the Santa Monica Mountains sits a relic of a very different time. San Vicente Mountain, once home to LA 96C, a Cold War-era Nike missile control site. Built in 1956 at the height of nuclear paranoia, this radar station was part of a defensive network meant to protect Los Angeles from Soviet bombers. From its vantage point at nearly 2,000 feet above sea level, operators could scan the skies for approaching enemy aircraft using radar that could detect planes up to 100 miles away. The actual missiles were stationed a few miles away in the Sepulveda Basin, where up to 30 Nike missiles stood ready to intercept enemy aircraft. While these weapons are long gone, the hilltop still holds remnants of the past. Weathered structures, a radar tower, and a guard shack with rusted window frames. The site also contained barracks where soldiers lived. In 1995, the property was purchased by the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy. Today, it serves as a popular destination for hikers and mountain bikers, a peaceful repurposing of a site once dedicated to preparing for the unthinkable. Southern California wasn't just where the dreams were made in Hollywood. It was where secretive aerospace programs quietly reshaped the nation's military power. Beneath the streets of El Segundo, Canoga Park, and Palmdale, a hidden infrastructure supported America's reach for the stars and its defense against nuclear threats. At Rocketdyne's Canoga Park facility, established in 1955, a network of tunnels connects various buildings across the sprawling campus. Though practical in purpose, these passageways also serve the demands of national security in an era when aerospace advancements were closely guarded secrets. More extensive underground facilities existed at Rocketdyne's Santa Susana Field Laboratory in the hills northwest of Los Angeles. Hidden from public view, Rocketdyne conducted rocket engine testing alongside nuclear experimentation, a combination that would leave a troubling environmental legacy. In July 1959, a partial nuclear meltdown occurred at the sodium reactor experiment when there was an accidental blockage of sodium coolant in some of the reactor's channels. This resulted in the partial melting of 13 of 43 reactor fuel elements. With no contaminant structure, radioactive gases were intentionally vented into the atmosphere over a period of 2 months with the approval of the Atomic Energy Commission. What was once a place where America reached for the stars has left behind a complicated, earthbound legacy. Whether you came for the hidden tunnels, the forgotten villages, or stories buried beneath the concrete, Los Angeles is full of surprises if you know where to look. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoy exploring the hidden layers of cities like this, hit the subscribe button because we're just getting started. I appreciate you taking the time to be here, and I hope it inspires you to explore, whether it's in your own city or somewhere completely new, because life is all about the journey, and sometimes the most interesting places are the ones hiding just beneath your feet. To keep exploring, click right here, and I'll see you in the next video.